Part 2 of the NARC diaries. This is about the man that I truly loved and I loved unconditionally dying last week, okay? So, if you haven't watched the first part and you care to watch it, then there is a part 1. So anyway, Janice was one of his other women that I thought that he was just friends with, but I found out that he had secret lives everywhere. And his parents told my brother, or his dad told my brother, when they met at storage, to get what I thought was going to be a nice bed out that he had got for me a few years ago, but wouldn't let me have. And when he was with Crystal, the one that was like 20 years old and he was like 50, because she was a nobody, just a drug addict and a drunk, but she was young, so he was gonna go with that. That was the prize. She was the prize, I was the prize, and Janice was just the fill-in. He was just with Janice when he couldn't be out here with me, and he couldn't be with Crystal. Janice was the fill-in. But Janice thought that Kyle was going to be hers forever because she put up with everything and she idolized him. She worshipped him. She could not do anything without him. She told me that herself when he had left me for Crystal the second time. And she told me that they had never slept together, but now I know that was a lie because I had found messages where, say, one morning I was over there and there was 179 messages and they were all about, where are you? Call me, call me, call me. I need you, I need you, I need you. And then the first time that I ever found out about her was when she was burning up his phone and he was sleeping in my bed. And she was going, I'm going to stop loving you if you don't answer your phone right now. And I'm making ribs tonight. Are you going to come over? And all this other stuff. You're hurting me and, all this other stuff she was saying. And so I answered, and I was like, what the hell? What the hell is going on? Who is this person? So I had went to his phone because he had it on my charger. And normally I just left his phone alone, but I mean, the phone was literally burning up. It was text messages, calling and Messenger, and calling on Messenger and texting on Messenger and all of that. So I was like, I don't even know what's going on. So I look at it and that's what I find. And then I'm like, this is Kyle's girlfriend. Who is this? And she's like, you're lying. You're lying. And I said, no, he's at my house right now. And so I took a picture and sent it to her through Messenger. And then I threw the phone at him and I said, your girlfriend is on Messenger. And I was so angry. And he took the phone and he hung up, and then he hung out with me the rest of the day and he just blew her off, okay? But that's what he did. And I found out that I realized all the times that I would call him at, say, 10 o'clock at night when I knew he was home and he didn't pick up, that meant there was another woman there. So he had a bunch of stuff in storage for 4 years after we moved out of one place. And one of them was the bed. And it was a really nice bed. Well, I hadn't been in there for like 3 years. So his parents couldn't afford to pay the $200 bill. And they didn't know what was in there. And none of us really knew what was in there, except I knew that the bed was in there. So my brother and my sister together paid on that bill. And my brother went down there and met my NARC's father. And there was, the furniture had literally decayed. And it was all full of ants and spiders and the little spider egg balls. And so even his dad was like, this is nothing but trash. And so my brother took the stuff and he took it to the trash later on, and there was only 4 pictures, like wall pictures, that were saved out of it, and that's all that we got out of it. I mean, that's how he left everything. That's how he left everything. He hurt his daughter so bad because that's all he did was whoremonger and put all his women before his daughter. And she lived like that. She never got to see her dad, you know, because all he cared about was whoremongering. And when my NARC and I lived together, I would beg him, let's go see your daughter. Have her come spend the night. Let's go out to the lake or whatever. He would say, no, I just want it to be me and you. And I was like, but I know how that feels. I was a girl too that didn't get to be with her dad, and it hurts really bad. And he's like, I know, I'll do something later. He never would. So anyway, my NARC's dad told my brother that he was that you know, I knew that basically my NARC was draining their life savings, and he never had any money for nothing, okay? And he would pay the last day on his bills, and then they would be due again, and he never had any money, and he was always going to his parents for money. And this is a 51-year-old man, okay? So they found multiple receipts where he was going to motel rooms. Now, they were really angry about that, okay? Why did he need to go to motel rooms? Okay, well, he used to tell me all the time how he always knew these homeless women. I'm like, how do you know homeless women? Why are you hanging around homeless people? Especially homeless women. Where do you meet these people at? I just do. I just meet them. Where? I just do. Well, I know that he wasn't bringing them any, like, tampons or lunch or anything like that, you know. So I know what he did. I don't need to be like a freaking mind reader, and I don't need to hear it from anybody. I can put 2 and 2 together. He was picking up whores, streetwalkers. He was picking up streetwalkers and bringing them to the motel rooms. And then he had Janice, and he had Crystal, and he had me, and I don't know who else he had, but he had secret lives everywhere. And when we lived together, he tormented me every single day that I was cheating on him, that I was a whore, that I was lying to him. I mean, if I looked at my phone, if I actually answered like an email about like a dog that I was going to rescue one day, he would go ballistic. He always thought I was setting up dates, that I was taking up pictures of my boobs and shooting them out to men. Or if I went to the woods, I was taking pictures of my boobs. That was him. And then he would start fights with me just so he could leave, and then say that I left because I was going to other men because I was a whore. And how many times did me and my dogs run out of the house while he was going ballistic? And then he would try to punch my windows out, or he would chase me down with his truck and try to head-on collision me, like he tried to head-on collision my mom one day when a 70-year-old woman who barely veered out of his way before he hit us full freaking force and killed us all. He did that like at least 4 times. He was extremely obsessed with me at one point, and I didn't understand that obsession, but now I do. His wife got pregnant while he was in prison with another man's baby, and he had a lot of pain in his heart that he could never work through. And everything was everybody else's fault. He never took responsibility for anything. So he just gave pain. He inflicted pain as much as he could, and I was prime suspect. I was number 1 in all his games. I was number 1. He loved to torment me because I was a smart woman. You know, in his mind, he thought I was his pretty girl. You know, he tormented me about my boobs because they were big. He tormented me about men, even my boyfriend when I was freaking 15 years old, I had a child with. He tormented me with things that I said on my Facebook page that went back years and years and years before we even were together. He tormented me about videos, innocent little videos that I would make. He told me that as far as Facebook went, he said, I don't care if it's your great-grandpappy. You need to tell me exactly who is sending you friend requests and who is on your Facebook. Why? I mean, just the torment, constant torment. But then when I would react, then I was abusive to him. If I stuck up for myself, I was abusive. If I told him that he hurt me, I was abusive. If I brought up something he did with another woman 2 hours ago that I just found out, like what he said to me right before he died, how he said that he was going to just go ahead and marry Crystal and get her pregnant. And I can't remember the exact words, but that's what he said. I'm just going to marry Crystal and get her pregnant because everybody keeps bringing up her name. And it freaking killed me. I was like, man, you I can't stop having nightmares about you and her being together. And you're going to say that, you know? And I told him it hurt me. You know what he said? He said that I was abusing him. And then he brought up something that I said out of anger after he was accusing me one day. And I said out of anger. And then later on, I retracted and I told him over and over and over and over and over again how sorry I was, how I never meant to hurt him, that I loved him with all my heart, that he was my everything. Please forgive me. He would just stare. He would just stare ahead. So he convinced Janice that I was the abuser. Janice told me that I conditionally loved him and that she was the one that loved him and she was the one that approved of him coming out here to hold my hand while I had cancer. And she approved him having sex with me and she approved him of having sex with Crystal. That they had plans together, even though Janice was so crippled by her PTSD that she could not walk outside her front door to get her mail. He needed a woman like that. That's who he needed. He had to have a woman that was crippled in her mind, body, and soul so he could control every single little thing that she did. And Lisa was one of them, but Lisa also died. Lisa died during the time that Kyle and I were living together. So he left behind a trail of tears. He left destruction. Everywhere he went, there's nothing but pain involved in all this. The first few days, I bawled my eyes out. Then I realized the man was whoremongering everywhere and had secret lives and double lives everywhere. And Janice, she told me that her and I were nothing alike. That's absolutely correct. We are nothing alike. This woman has wrinkles that look like she's 100 years old. No offense, but Kyle told me that he didn't care how a woman looked. He didn't care. He loved all women. That's what he told me, which was one of our fights when we were both in the hospital together, and we both blocked each other because I brought out about his other women and how he said that he loved all women. And I just got the text message. I looked at the text message just a couple days ago because I hadn't read it before. And I looked at it, and sure enough, what does it say in the text message? While he's in the hospital and I'm in the hospital having my cuff repaired that he did not care about after we had sex, and this is fixing to die. After we had sex and he broke it, he broke my cuff. And he did not give a crap about me. I almost died because we had sex and he broke my cuff, but he didn't care. He was off living his double life, his triple life, his lives everywhere, all over the city. That's what a narcissist